Hola, ¿qué tal? Soy Claudia Padilla y hoy vamos a tener un podcast muy diferente. Soy Claudia Padilla, soy la directora del Colegio Misión y hoy vamos a tener un podcast de verdad diferente porque tuvimos esta semana unos invitados de honor. Hi, my name is Claudia. I'm the principal or director of the mission school. And we're going to have a very different podcast. And this time we're going to do it in English. And we're going to do it in English because this past week, we had honor guests that were with us and that were with our students. And this was very interesting and this was amazing for our school and for our students. So welcome, Ethan. Welcome, Ram. Ethan.
I like it.
The students were doing that all week. Ethan, Ram.
So, well, first I'd like to introduce you, but I think it's better if you guys introduce yourself. So, Ethan, would you like to talk a little bit about you and your experience and your experience mainly teaching students?
Yes, of course. Hello, my name is Ethan Keogh, and I live in Annapolis, Maryland, just near Washington, D.C. But for 25 years of my adult life, I lived in Los Angeles, and I was a professional actor. And in that time, I started teaching acting to students. And I really focused on how to connect with their voice and how to connect with their body. And later in my life, I started to get into other kinds of work, mainly mindfulness, what I'm going to call mindfulness, and inquiry. And for me, those two things lined up in a beautiful way. And so now I can teach inquiry or mindfulness, and now I can teach acting, and the acting informs the mindfulness, and the mindfulness informs the acting.
No, that's so very beautiful. Yeah, good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What a beautiful experience.
I would also like to share that I moved here in 2017
Okay.
with my wife and our 6-month-old baby, and I fell in love with the school. I fell in love with the town, and I came here to teach acting and English and inquiry.
Yeah.
I lived here for 1 year, and I've been coming back ever since.
Yeah. Beautiful. Awesome. So Ram, tell us about you. Tell us about your experience. Tell us about what you love to do for life.
Wow. Well, my name is Ram. I live, I don't know, in many places here. And I always thought like education was very important in order to change the world. And in my early ages, I was involved in education. And then that left. And then, luckily, there was the opportunity to explore who I really was. And that became my passion. And years later, it happened spontaneously, that need of sharing those tools and those opportunities to perceive the world in a different way that we usually do. And that's how it started being this second part of me in education, sharing with students not only things that we have to do, but also our being, like to be human.
Yeah. How important is that to be, just to be, instead of being human doings, we're human beings, and that is so very important, right? Yeah. So why was it important for our students to do this workshop? And why was it important for our students to be away from academic activities for 6 hours this past week?
Well, it's not amazing that we as schools don't bring the whole attention, and Mission, of course, is a different school, that we are human beings and we don't have classes that tell us how our body functions, how our brain functions, what are emotions, what happened in all my human experience, and just goes into learning facts and things for our roles or professions. But we are not that. Every parent, every professional worker, you are not that. Like if you go to your job, from the moment that you woke up, you do your breakfast and you get to your job, you're just a human being. When you go to the bathroom, you're just a human being. You are not doing that instead, if that's the case. And what happened in there?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And beautiful answer to that question. And also you answered the question before you asked it. Yes, like how do we? Our schools weren't actually designed to experience. Our schools were designed to help us do things, right? To help us go out into the world and function in terms of getting a job and succeeding, and that is beautiful and so important. And also, there's this other aspect that just can be so neglected.
Yeah.
And it's another way to really serve our children. And I think COVID really put a highlight on this, that all of a sudden, there was so much anxiety and so much depression, and it was there before.
Yeah.
But now you cannot escape it. You can't avoid it. You have to deal with it. And the way for us that we believe in dealing with it is sharing this different way of being in the world. When you're connected to yourself, there are just so many more possibilities in life.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. So, Ethan, you mentioned the word inquiry. What is inquiry? And this is important because the mission school has one of its pillars is inquiry. So tell us a little bit more about what is inquiry.
Yes. So in its simplest form, inquiry is to question. And we're so busy, in my experience, doing. We get up in the morning, we have to get our coffee, we have to make our breakfast, we make our kids' breakfast, we get in the car, we drive to work, we drop them off, and it just becomes one thing after another and another. And over time, as we grow up, I think we build assumptions in our lives, and we don't question them. And so inquiry is about slowing down, connecting with our internal world, and questioning what we're doing and what is informing what we're doing. Why are we doing what we're doing? I think Ram might be able to add to that.
Yeah, and in the way that I experience the word inquiry in mission context, it's about emotional intelligence. It's about a possibility for the kids to know and explore who they are as humans and as beings, and what does that mean, and the relation that I can have with my brain, with my thoughts, with my emotions, with others. What happened when I relate with others with the assumptions that I have in my mind? What happened when I relate with others without the assumption in my mind?
Yeah.
And the methodology that it supports this program, it's a methodology very simple, 4 steps. The first one is to identify. I'm going to identify what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking. Then and my beliefs. And then I'm going to question them with a series of questions. And then I'm going to discover new possibilities. And then sometimes it happens, sometimes not. Then I'm going to leave from those new discoveries that I just realized.
Yeah. I love this. I really love this. I remember that Dr. Joe Dispenza, he always is talking about the quality of our lives is the quality of our thoughts. And that is so, so very important. It's interesting because you started teaching this workshop from elementary all the way up to high school. Why start with elementary? It seems that children are so very young, so very naive in so many ways. So why is it important to teach elementary children about their minds and about questioning and about all these things?
Children have very rich emotional lives. And oftentimes we don't have the time or space to pay attention to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a 6-year-old. How many times has my 6-year-old had an issue before school and he's upset or he's crying and it's time to go to school? You got to put the shoes on. You got to get in the car.
Yeah.
You got to go to school. You got to get to work, right? And then you're left with, was I a good parent? Am I a bad parent? And then he's left with not being supported with that emotional life. And what we're trying to do is to teach them to support themselves in their own emotional life. And this is a thing, it's so important, and they're so amazing, and they're better at it than adults are. They really are, because they're more connected to they haven't been as disconnected as we adults are from their internal world.
Wow.
Yeah, I would like to add, like, this thing that we are doing is not needed at all. And at the same time, it can be the most important gift that you can have. But it's not needed because you are born as a human being perfectly, and it's always going to be. And these tools can bring awareness, and that awareness can reconnect the parts of you that were disconnected, or it can bring more separation. But it's so important as an institution to bring into that, and because there's all the research that if you are disconnected from the person that is speaking in front of you, if you're disconnected emotionally for the themes that you are seeing, there's no possibility that your brain will learn.
Yeah.
And it's very beautiful having the opportunity to work with every age, because as Ethan said, like, each of them are in a stage of their life. And I love to work with teenagers because I feel like it's a moment where they are not as zombie as adults can be, and they are not as vital as they used to be. No, with their innocence fully alive. So it's like a moment like, what is
Yeah,
this?
they're in between. That's right. And also they have the sophistication to understand really holding a concept that can feel complicated. They're sophisticated enough to get it, and yet they're still connected to the youthfulness. And it's kind of a magic place. I think.
Yeah. Wow. So, I tell us what was like, what topics did you talk about with our very children elementary students?
Yeah, so emotional intelligence
Oh,
is where
wow.
we started.
Okay.
And it was very simple. We tried to keep it very simple. And, we had emojis, we had 7 different emojis. We had anger, we had joy.
Oh,
we
I
had
love that.
amusement, and we put them around the room, and we asked them to embody them, and they just love this. They yell, they scream, they sigh, they laugh. It's so great. And then we gave them a situation, and they would run to the emotion that they would experience in that situation. And then we invited them to notice how different people experience things differently. We gave them experience at one point, like, someone took away your candy.
Oh,
How do you
wow.
feel? And some went to sadness, and some went to anger, and some went to confusion, and we talked about this. Because when you can recognize that not everyone is having the same experience as you, and you can from the time you're very young, it opens up your mind to others, to the experience of others.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they are very clear. So there were some in the emotion of happiness, and it's like, but someone steal your candy. Why are you happy? Oh, because candies, they are not good for my teeth.
Wow.
And they are not good for my health. So I'm happy that they take it from me.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is that by doing this work, they are opening themselves up to new and infinite possibilities. Is that correct?
Wow, that's beautiful.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of us experience from a very young age of our emotional or inner life being shut down. We really do. And so I can understand, like, concern from parents. Why are they doing this? And yet, as Ram said, it's maybe one of the most important things, if not the most important thing.
I couldn't agree more with that, because sometimes life is about this emotional regulation. It's about this emotional maturity. It's about this emotional intelligence. So I couldn't agree more with that. So what is next for our elementary students?
Well, I will be here next week supporting the process that they have to see if they have questions. Of course, things are going to show up.
Yes.
And yesterday, a mom approached me and said, like, oh, my kid told me that he really likes the workshop, and that if we can do that at home, if we can implement that at home, it's like, oh, how old is your kid? He's in 2nd grade. So what did you do? Oh, we talk about emotions, to recognize our emotions and to see. So, yeah, things are going to come. Some are going to like it, some are going to not like it.
Yes.
And maybe some, they're going to have some realizations or some things arising weeks later or days later. So we will be here to support that. And of course, they have a class for that, and that is going to be support. And because it was just a little taste, we just have small time for them. So we also said to the teachers, follow through these invitations that we give in this week.
Wow, wonderful. So it's a support not only for our students, but for the parents.
Yeah, and yesterday we had a workshop with the teachers.
Yes, we did.
And it was for them, of course, to be more sensitive about themselves, to connect more with themselves, with their vitality.
Yeah.
And to bring that into their lives, and then therefore for their classrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We've been talking about kids, but it's this work is important for everyone. And if you can build a community where everyone is starting to acknowledge their inner world, the feelings of others, the experience of others, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so emotions are and feelings are there for a reason, right? So tell us about middle school. What happened in middle school? I'm guessing that it was very different to be with elementary students than with middle students. So tell us about what happened in middle school.
Well, middle school, we also in elementary was changing because we work in
By grades.
2 grades
Yeah.
at a time. So also with them we start talking about the image that you have of yourself.
Oh, wow.
And other possibilities of relating. If you tell something of me or you criticize me, the old way is to defend myself.
Yeah.
Or to shut down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only 2 options, really.
Yeah.
Defend yourself or go in a corner and cry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And in my humanity, there's even parts of my body that I can't see myself. Like for example, right now I can't see my face, I can't see my back. There's parts of my body that I'm not aware of. Of course, I'm not parts of my inner world that I'm not aware. The way that maybe I'm speaking to you. So I need you.
Yes.
To give me a bigger perspective of myself.
Absolutely.
But if I right away shut down or resist it, I lose that possibility, and that possibility can make me be more expansive as human.
Yeah, wonderful, gorgeous.
There's so much going on in their bodies, and they become so self-conscious at this age. But, you know, what we started with was 2 things. One was finding inner guidance, so self-leadership, so connecting with your inner world. And the other was silence.
Wow.
And so I think at the end of the day, they really got silence through an exercise we did. But boy, they fought us really hard on that one.
And that is part of it.
Absolutely.
We
Of
are
course.
humans, and this work is not simple. Who wants to feel like if it's the same as if you do exercise? There's some it's not comfortable.
No.
The impulse of our mind is to run away for the uncomfortable emotions, for the uncomfortable situations. But we are also building capacity. And it's very important in this age that we start giving the opportunity in a safe environment, in a safe space, to start having some challenges internally and externally. So we start noticing that we are capable to be there, that we can be there instead of trying to resolve all the things. We can be there, and the naturality that happens is allowance and acceptance. And of course, I feel the workshop has challenged. We worked the inner and internal guidance, and also we were able to acknowledge that we as humans judge. So it was very beautiful that the students can judge their teachers openly, and the teachers can judge their kids openly in a space of listening, in a space of love, and notice what happened when we have this possibility of be truly authentic with each other. Then the connection arises right away, and from there, again, new possibilities can open up.
Wow, how important is this? Because at the end of the day, again, it's our internal, that it's our inner reality that is at the end of the day showing us the outer experience. So how important is this work? And how was it for high school? I'm interested in knowing how was it for big students.
I think they loved it. We got terrific feedback, and again, at this age, they've moved out of some of that painful self-consciousness, so they're more comfortable in their skin, and they're mature enough to handle more difficult concepts. So with them, we started with in a similar place with internal guidance, but where we ended up was a place. You go ahead.
Well, in this case, the same. We start noticing what thoughts separate us from each other, and one of the biggest things that happened in that age is men and women.
Oh, wow.
Because we start having this sensation and we don't know what's happening. So we did the same. We had the opportunity to open up in a way that I can listen what are you thinking about me, and I can listen to what you're thinking of me, and then see and notice how we want the same things. Yeah.
So specifically what Ram's talking about is this process of inquiry. And we walked them through it. And we asked the young women in the class to judge men. And we asked the young men in the class to judge women. And then we questioned the beliefs around those judgments. And inevitably when we do this, as Ram said, what we come to is a place where we all sort of realize we want the same thing. And I asked them to share this one at a time. And they did. Some of them did. Wow.
This is a very sensitive topic nowadays, all about gender and about judging the other and about the role of women, the supposed role of women and the supposed role of men.
Yes.
in our culture. How important it is to have this inner guidance, to really be authentic, to really be in integrity with who we are and what we want in our lives and in the world.
That's it. And I just want to say one more thing about this. And one of the ways that we do that is to give ourselves permission, really, to judge the other. We're all doing it anyway, all the time, even without thinking about it. Oh, why is he wearing that shirt? Or they're too tall, or what, skin color, whatever it is. But to put it down and share it with someone is actually a form of intimacy.
Yeah.
And it goes against everything we've been taught.
Yeah.
But imagine being intimate in this way.
Yeah. And being aware.
Yes.
And being aware of, oh, I'm doing this.
Yes.
I am, for the first time, maybe I'm being aware that I'm judging in this way. And maybe I don't want to, but I am doing it.
I think Yes, yeah, that's beautifully said. I mean, none of us, what we realize in this work is that none of us want to hurt each other.
Absolutely.
It's not in our nature.
Absolutely.
And yet, if it's in the mind, and that's what's running in the mind, we can't stop what's in our mind.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Another thing I want to add is there was another person with us.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Robin,
Uh-huh.
and she's a beautiful being, and she's a professional in working in this technique called continuum movement.
Mm-hmm.
And because at that age we start, and as adults for sure, to disconnect from our body, because our whole attention goes into
Our
our
minds.
thinking mind,
Yeah.
and we're just like kind of a robots. So it's to bring again the attention to the body and start moving instead of the cultural from A to B to B to C. And we as schools do that. We make the kids go into this cultural, go to this class, into another, and you have to do in the homework, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
blah,
and
blah.
you have to go to don't ask to go to the bathroom. You got to wait till or whatever it is. Like
Yeah.
we just deny.
And it's a complete disconnection. We form little kids to be disconnected from their inner world and from the reality. So these workshops is to give them the opportunity to remember them. We're sorry. There's another possibility for you.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, we bring the experience in the body and to slow down, to have another possibility, connecting with your body to slow down and to recognize the inner space that is there, and that there's other possibilities when joy
Yeah.
can follow your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not just the cultural.
Yeah. And authentic joy.
Authentic joy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pure joy.
Absolutely.
There was a young woman, I just want to share this. There was one young woman who we started inviting them to go into their body. And we're talking very simple questions. Just notice in this moment, what are you feeling? And she pulled me over and she said, in my family, we value tough. My family values tough. She said, what you're asking me to do goes against everything I've been taught for my whole life. And she said, just the idea that I could open up to my emotions makes me want to cry. And then she started crying.
Yeah.
And I said, this is so beautiful. Thank you for calling me over. And to me, toughness is being able to embrace your reality. And if you can find this connection, and there will be whole new possibilities for you moving forward in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that the work was about letting go of the assumptions that we usually do since we are in elementary school, and getting into our inner reality, rich world, and discover that opening up to infinite possibilities is a reality, and is rich, and is beautiful, and is possible. So thank you so much for sharing with our students last week. Is there anything that would you like to add about the workshop, about how was the experience overall? Is there anything that you'd like to say to our parents and to the mission community about inquiry or about the workshop we had?
No, just if the intention is to give an integral education,
Yes.
these workshops and these themes has to be the daily life.
Yeah.
It's not a thing that happens there casually one time a year. It's a thing that has to be embodied every second in every class, because that's how then we become an integrated human being,
Yeah.
where mathematics and myself is not different. And what happened in the class and how I react, like the external, how does affect the internal, and the internal the external. It's to bring awareness to that. And as Ethan said before, as a community we can build this. It's just revolutionary.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have these workshops every month also for the parents.
Yeah,
We
that's
invite you to come.
yeah, that's an invitation. I'd like to focus a little bit more after I hear your if you have anything to say to our parents,
Yeah,
and then
thank
we'll
you.
go back to this because I think it's important.
Just this, that this work, there aren't a lot of people doing this in the world. That it's a real passion for us, based on our life experience, and that it can be scary.
Yeah.
It can be challenging. It's challenging for the students. It's challenging for the parents. And really, our whole world is built around external referencing. So just the idea of turning in and connecting with what's going on with us, just like that young woman who cried at the idea that she might be allowed to cry.
Yeah.
That's how far off
Yeah.
most of us are. So I just invite an open mind. That's all. Just can you find a place to be open to this?
Yeah.
And in your own life and in the lives of your kids and in the people of your community.
Yeah. So again, as principal and as director, I'd like to say that all parts of us, all parts of me, are always welcome. And with that note, would you like to make an invitation on what's happening next Thursday and what happens every month with Inquiry?
Yeah, so every month we have an online session about inquiry for the parents of Mission, and it's open gracefully to the community, so everybody can come, because this is not just for Mission. It's like we are human beings, and there's a possibility that missions offer to the community to come and discover something about yourself. So this Thursday is the day. This next Thursday is the day that we are doing this workshop, and the theme that we're going to address is limits as parents to our kids, like how to deal with limits. Yeah, and it's in the context of inquiry, and you're very welcome. It's completely a space for yourself.
Yeah, don't miss out, please, dear parents. This is really important. This is really important for you as parents, but also really important for our children, for our students, because this is what we teach here at Mission School. So thank you so much, Ram, Ethan, Ram.
Thank you for having us and letting us speak a little about this. It's an honor.
Yes, yes.
And I just want to say, like, Ethan is very generous and kind, and we give our contact to the students. And truly, since the years that we have been doing this at Mission, students still reaching us, like they leave 4-5 years ago the school, and they are still being in contact and reaching us and asking questions, and we give that support to the kids too.
Yeah.
So they can have that if they need it.
This is not just work for us. I mean, this is life, and the two are joined.
Yeah. So how beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? How amazing is that for our students? I think this is very unique in the world to have such a beautiful experience, and this kind of education is really exceptional. So again, thank you so much for being very present with our students. Thank you so much for coming to Mission School. Thank you so much for being part of Mission School. Thank you so much. And okay, see you next time. I'm gonna leave Mariela do her thing in the podcast. Muchas gracias por habernos acompañado en este podcast especial. Mariela continuará con los podcasts. Yo continúo con mis labores de dirección y nos vemos muy pronto. See you soon. Bye bye.